I'm overwhelmed with love and thank you. It's, I suggested to James a few weeks ago, if he's going to honor mystics, how about like a modern day mystic? And I suggested Pema Chodron, the Buddhist monk, who wrote books like When Things Fall Apart and The Places That Scare You. And James didn't get around to it, and then I suggested it to Victoria, and apparently she suggested it back to me. So that's what we're doing today. And Pema has popularized or modernized an ancient Tibetist Buddhist meditation called Tonglen. Did I pronounce that right? Tonglen? Let me ask. Doesn't matter. But anyway, it's very interesting.
It's Tonglen.
Tonglen. Thank you very much. So it's the practice of breathing in the suffering of, it could be someone you love, it could be someone on the other side of the world, breathing it in and then breathing out loving kindness. And we'll get around to practicing this a little later, but I want to give you a little backstory. One of the I keep deepening my appreciation for this community, for what goes on here in the mornings especially. And since James started to honor different traditions and mystics, I love it even more. Yeah, I love the eclecticness. I love the open-mindedness of just saying, hey, let's honor the truth wherever it is. And so I'm so glad that Vicky is continuing that tradition. And Vicky, you don't know this, but the I Ching that you described is very popular here at Namaste Village. We have these little tiny teachers called mosquitoes, and they come around and they give us an opportunity to practice non-resistance when they cause us to do some I Ching. I love it. I heard a few groans, but you're free to groan. You're a grown woman or man. So for me, I got into A Course in Miracles, I think I was about 18. And before that, I was against God, right? My parents were atheists. I just thought it was all a crock of, blah. And so, but I was interested in spirituality. And in college, I took a course called Introduction to Buddhism. And then I took the course that everyone loved to take because it was an easy A. It was called The Gospel According to Zen. And for me, it was you had to keep a journal and meditate. And I befriended the teacher who was in this enchanted place, a place that I only knew I could get to through what's commonly called plant medicine nowadays. But he would walk down, we would have lunch together, he would walk down the hall and he'd say, Scott, look at the concrete, look at the wall, just look at it. And he was like seeing the perfection, the enchanted geometric beauty of every piece of matter in the universe. Because he was present. And I wanted what he had. So I started meditating and then somehow the Course in Miracles came into my life. And I became a Course in Miracles fundamentalist. I didn't read any other books. This was the truth, and anything that seemed to contradict it was a threat. And I can look back and see that was perfect because I needed to commit to something, and that was perfect. But after several decades, I started to receive guidance that there were other things that I could learn that might be useful to my journey. And before I tell you about this one major thing that leads us to Pema, I want to tell you that I was doing the opposite of Tonglen. I was doing practices where I would breathe in love and exhale fear. Breathe in prosperity and exhale scarcity. Breathe in money and exhale my bills. I mean, like, I just, this is what I thought it was all about, but it was really creating a duality inside me. There's something good, I'll breathe that in. There's something bad, I'll let that go. Breathe in forgiveness. Breathe out that pesky anger. Yeah, so you can see how that maybe was helpful for a beginner, but that eventually that becomes a limiting thing. It's like, oh, there's something inside me that needs to be taken out with the garbage, rather than embraced and loved and brought into unity. So Pema's practice is really reversing that, and it's a beautiful thing. But let me tell you one more story before we get to that. So after 20 years of the course, I did feel guided to go to this psychic school. And it was called Asclepian. It was an offshoot of the Berkeley Psychic Institute. And I took classes there. And I was having a lot of fun. I was learning a lot of things. It was really good. But it wasn't Course in Miracles. And so there was just a part of me thinking, this isn't what Jesus taught. This is not right. And it just kept building up inside me. And eventually I got to the point where I just said to Holy Spirit, I'm going to go one more time. And it was a Saturday morning. And I want you to give me a clear sign that this is where I'm supposed to be, because I'm really not feeling comfortable here. And so Saturday morning arrived, and I got there, and the teacher said, today we're going to be focusing on miracles. And she said, a miracle, contrary to popular opinion, is simply a shift in your perception. I just relaxed. I said, okay, thank you, Jesus. I'm here. But one of the things they taught, I was there for a couple of years, and I took the main thing that they offered was a 1-year clairvoyant course. And everything I do when I tap with people, see me intuitively reading energy, I've learned from that school. So it was very valuable. But the one thing that they did teach that really I had to take the best and leave the rest. And this is when you graduate from being a fundamentalist to somebody with an open mind. When you're able to go, this resonates for me, but this doesn't, but I don't need to reject the whole enchilada. I just need to get less spicy sauce on it. This is Mexico. For you Zoomers, we're always throwing in those kinds of metaphors. So the thing that didn't fit for me about this school is that when you were done reading somebody's energy and giving them a reading, you were supposed to disconnect from them, put them in a rose, imagine a rose, and blow them up, and check your body, and if you feel anything that's not peace, it might be their energy, might be their unresolved anger, that might be, their grief, it might be, so you see it, and you put it in a rose, and you blow it up out of your space. My space. They were very big on that. And I didn't like that. And it just wasn't comfortable. So as soon as I left the school, I stopped doing all those tools and just found my own way with that. Because for me, when something is in my space, whether it be my mother's guilt or my client's sadness or my own whatever, it's all mine. It's all here to be loved. I don't need to blow it up and reject it and, and cast it out of this illusion called me. There's no such thing as my space. If it shows up, it's here to be loved. And that leads us to a little Tonglen. Tonglen. So there's a song my buddy Michael Stillwater wrote about the practice. Let me sing it, and then we'll put the practice into practice. pain. Breathe on out the love. Let my heart be a place where this world is changed forever. Breathe in the pain. Breathe on out the love. Let my heart be a place where this world is changed forever. Let your eyes close. And let yourself focus on some suffering that seems to exist outside of you. Could be across the planet or in your blood family. And imagine that your job as a teacher of God, as a bringer of light, is to breathe in the suffering. Like you would say to somebody, here, I'll take some of that for you. I'll relieve your burden. I'll take that in to my heart. And take a nice deep breath of their suffering. And then breathe out love. Breathe out kindness. Breathe in suffering. And let's all do this and right now focus on people in Ukraine. Breathe in their hardship. And breathe out compassion and healing, sending blessings with each exhale. Breathe in the suffering of parents all over the world who are finding it difficult to find food to feed their family. Breathe in their pain, their guilt, their sorrow, and breathe out a blessing of loving kindness. May all be fed. May all be healed. Here's another one. Breathe in the suffering of those who are severely in pain about what's going on politically in their country. Breathe in the suffering, no matter what their point of view is or who they like and who they demonize. Just breathe in the suffering that comes from ideologies that support separation. Breathe in that pain and breathe out loving kindness. Breathe out your awareness that there is no separation between you and them. Breathe in the suffering of those who fear aging, who fear losing control, who fear being helpless, who fear being a burden for their loved ones. All of the fears that are involved in aging in a culture that makes it wrong. Breathe in their suffering and breathe out a blessing of kindness and compassion. And just stay with this practice for a moment longer, choosing with your own free will to pick some suffering and inhale it as I sing this song one last time. Breathe in the pain, breathe on out the love. Let my heart be a place where this world is changed forever. Changed for better. finally, we're going to do a quote from Pema and invite people to do what we've been doing lately with quotes. But it's so short that you won't have to write it down. We'll take 3 people from Namaste, 3 people from Zoom, and Victoria, I'd love to hear you, but right now let's start with Namaste. So the quote is, "You are the sky. Everything else, it's just the weather." Yeah. You are the sky. Everything else, it's just the weather. Raise your hand if you'd like to come up and share. Christopher? Oh, you're looking. You want to start us off? Sure. Great.
Anytime.
You are the sky. Everything else, it's just the weather.
This is so beautiful for my mind to realize that whether there's clouds or not, the sky is always there. So it reminds me of that I can dwell in the mind of God as a sky, and all the emotions that come up through me and around me, swirling around, I can always know I can come home to my resource, the source of all that is. So I'm so grateful for this. Thank you.
I love the word resource. Resource. Bonnie, you are the sky. Everything else is just the weather.
I am the changeless truth of the love of God.
One more person.
I am the changeless truth of the love of God. In other words, the sky is not the limit. Come on down, Carol. You're the next contestant on The Truth is Light.
You are the vastness of the universe. Breathe it in and exhale the truth.
Thanks for getting the breath into it, tying it all together. All right, Vicky, how about you?
Thank you,
are
Scott.
the
Thank
sky.
you.
Yeah.
Let it come and let it go. I'm free. Thank you.
Oh. Now, is there anyone in Zoom land? I do see a hand up. And so I just click on the hand and there's a way to unmute that person, I believe.
They can unmute themselves, Scott.
Okay, please, you with the beautiful pyramid, unmute yourself. You are the sky, everything else is the weather. The pyramid is not in a conversational mood. All right, please, go ahead. That would be you. Can you unmute? Judy, darling?
Oh, yes, that would be me. I thank you very much. You are the sky. Everything else is the weather. My spirit soars into the blue with trust.
My spirit soars into the blue with trust. Is there anyone else that would like to share on Zoom? Ah, one of our regulars has her hand up. Akadev. You can unmute now, Akadev. Yeah.
I am the sky, and I extend my loving, compassionate love to the rain that has been falling nonstop for a week and will be continuing for yet another week.
Send it down here. We could use a little of that. All right. Before I turn it over to Vicky to wrap things up, it just occurred to me that when I use the word Course in Miracles fundamentalist, that I was very busy pushing things away so that I could focus on one thing. Nothing wrong with that. But what we're doing here at Namaste and what we're doing each morning, especially these last few weeks, is so different. It's almost like the opposite of fundamentalists. It's just so open and free. And like James was saying the other day, when you're in a non-dual frame of mind, you could read the newspaper and see non-duality in every sentence. And we're doing that. We're practicing that. So I'm really grateful to be a part of this community. And Vicky, you have the floor and the sky.
Thank you, Brother Scott. And thank you for all that. It was really wonderful to get to have a feeling of what you have been through, because we all can identify with those steps. I didn't realize how grounded I have been in Taoism until I just was inspired to do it this week, and then it all came back to me. So we give example of how those little seeds for all of us have taken deep root. And the root is in the same place, in the soil of our oneness. There's no confusion about it. We belong to oneness. And whatever roads, like all roads lead to Rome, all our spiritual roads were the seeds of looking within rather than looking without. And now we're refining them all, and we're able to use them all, not to the exclusion of one another, but not as an end in themselves by any means. But we can celebrate them all. And this was a great example. I want to read you. This is an example of a sister, Patricia Pierce. Some of you may know her. She's an author. She's a bit of a friend. And she had an experience of sudden oneness. And it filled my heart as I read it, because the sudden oneness or the holy instant, however it comes upon us, it's our freedom forever. And any of us that have had those moments, we know that to be true. One moment where that what is it, the crack in the cosmic egg, when our shell is cracked open and we, for a moment, breathe freedom, the vastness of everything as part of us, where there's no opposite, no enemy, nothing to run from or run to, that perfect fulfillment of right now, it lights our way forever until we return to that as our only state. And that's what we do here every day, help each other to return to that as our only state and live in that frequency. Even if we're not having the perceptual experience of it, it doesn't matter. If we're perceiving the rain and we know we're the sky, let the rains come. Make lemonade, enjoy the rain. For me, I make it a cozy day like snow. And I love that it's so full in whatever it is. So this is a couple of sentences from a sister expressing that moment of being the sky. She says, in a flash, I comprehended not only the interconnectedness of reality, but of my own interconnectedness with reality. I, as separate entity, did not exist. Isolation and separation had only been erroneous ideas in my mind. Everything, the pool of tears at my feet, the rock, the trees, the soil, everything was vibrant and alive, luminous, infused with a present, not merely a presence, a sentience. Nothing was inanimate. Everything was expressing a life, a totality, a complete oneness, love itself. And I thought, what a great description. What a great sense of what this oneness is. And, we started the week and I was saying how Taoism presumes oneness. We're here to live like we presume oneness. If we presume oneness, if we look at that and let that be true, just let it be true, everything comes and goes. Let it come and go. Our freedom is in the sky, in the fullness that we know to be so. Even if we have not had a direct experience, don't let that bother you. It doesn't matter. There's a knowing that each of us has, or we would not be in this room today. That knowing is enough. That knowing that oneness, love, and who we are inseparable. That's what we are. That's what life is, and all these tools. Taoism is a wonderful tool because it brings us into the natural stepping back as the sky. The sky doesn't interfere with the rain. The sky doesn't dictate the clouds. The sky just is and allows everything to be. What is the author's name? Patricia Pierce. Her book is Beyond Jesus. She had been a minister, I think a Methodist or minister for many years. And then this is the story of her spiritual development. And that was a turning point in her life. And she has come full circle and hopefully also living in this present. So Beyond Jesus, My Spiritual Odyssey, Patricia Pierce. And that's on page 125 or so, right around there if you want to find it. But the point is, what's the point? What time is it? Well, one second. The point is, we are the sky. Live in the freedom of the sky. Live from there and let things come and go. That's all Taoism is. It's stepping back.
How do you spell Pierce?
Pierce, P-E-A-R-C-E. Yes.
Okay,
put it in the chat, Vicky.
Okay. And but Scott, I'd like to close with you singing.
I will.
Okay.
I have a few closing words.
Oh, good. Go right ahead. Thank you.
First of all, the sequel to the book you just mentioned, if it doesn't exist, you can tell her it should be called Beyond Jesus. Second of all, everyone is presumed one until proven separate by a jury of their fears. And finally, in the spirit of inclusiveness, that we're all just gobbling up everything because we're all one and the sky doesn't reject anything, I went back, in a sense, to my parents and thanked them for being atheists. I felt so excited that they were courageous enough to reject a God of punishment, to reject a God of judgment, and just face life without all of these false gods. And they gave me a torch and they said, here, you go further. They didn't say it consciously, but anyway, it is time. I'll sing that song one more time and then we'll close. Breathe in the pain. Breathe on out the love. Let our hearts be a place where this world is changed forever. One more time. Breathe in the pain. Breathe on out the love. Let our hearts be a place where this world is changed forever. So thank you all for joining us, and tune in tomorrow. But don't wait for tomorrow. Tune in right now, all day long, to the love and the Tao and the Zen that's inside you.
Thanks. Thank you. I love you all.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everybody.
See you tomorrow.